For goodness sakes, pick up a book and read something. It's the age of technology and it's the age of information. Please stop talking without verifying beforehand what you're saying and what you're talking about. Otherwise, you don't have the right to talk. You need to just sit down. Now, what I'm talking about here in particular is the word and place and the people of Palestine, okay? So the word Palestine didn't just start existing at the turn of the 20th century. It's not a European construct, a European invention. It didn't start with the British and the French when they had control of the area. It didn't start even with the Romans 2,000 years ago, okay? If you look up the word Palestine, it's from the ancient Greek word Philistia, okay? Now, if you didn't know what is the designation that in terms of time for ancient Greek, it's from the 12th century BC all the way to the 6th century AD, okay? But even on top of that, the word Palestine or Paliset or Philistia has been found on hieroglyphics from ancient Egypt, okay? And it's talking about the people of next door to Egypt, the people next door to Egypt. Now, ancient Egypt, even 12th century BC, included the Sinai Peninsula. So when they said the people next door to our country, the people next door to our land, it meant the designation of Palestine. Now, Palestine, of course, did not have the lines on the map that it does now. It was pretty loose, okay? But for sure they knew that it extended east of the River Jordan, all the way west to the Mediterranean, south to the Sinai Peninsula, north of Antioch, okay? At least at the time of the Romans, who had called it Syria Palestina, the province of Syria Palestina. And for those that are going to come and comment below, Judea existed within that province. It was a lot smaller within the province of Syria Palestina. But let's go back to BC times, okay? So in BC times, the ancient Greek historian Herodotus wrote about that area, and also Aristotle also wrote about it. But let's stay with Herodotus, okay? So he wrote about the people of Palestine. That's how he talked about them. Whether he said Palestine or Philistia or Paliset, they were all synonymous to indicate that area, what other people called the Holy Land, okay? Those words always existed for thousands of years, and they existed in the ancient Greek writings, they existed in the ancient Egyptian writings, they existed in the ancient Assyrian writings, and they also existed in the ancient Hebrew writings. The word Palestine has been around for thousands of years. I will delete people who come in here in their ignorance to make comments down below. I will delete them and block them, never to be seen from again, okay? Open a book and educate yourself and stop talking gibberish, nonsense. That's all you're saying. You cannot just erase a group of people just because you want to. Saying something doesn't make it true. Even if we go back to the beginning of the 20th century, all you have to do is look at maps pre-1948, and you will see the country, the state of Palestine. That's all you have to do. It's as simple as that. The National Geographic Britannica, they have those. It existed. If you talk about the Balfour Agreement, which is not actually as ostentatious as it sounds, it's just a letter. You can go look it up and read it. And it talks about the Palestinian people of that land. And it talks about Palestine. So saying something never existed doesn't make it true. Balfour wrote that letter, really small letter, that anybody could look up and read. designating the land of Palestine to the Jewish people. And it makes requests in that letter to make provisions for the people that are there in the land of Palestine, the Palestinians. Both those words are used in the letter. It makes provisions to make sure that they are not harmed, that they are taken care of. But were they taken care of? No. And now we're 75 years in, trying to completely erase them. Shame on you for promoting, for propagating, for passing on gibberish, nonsense information that isn't true. The mainstream media is lying to us. It isn't true. All you have to do is look up in a book, a scholarly book, Britannica, National Geographic. Wikipedia doesn't count as a resource. And find out for yourself with your own eyes. The tide has turned and things are changing. It may be a trickle, it may be at a snail's pace, but the tide is changing, and all that money that genocidal ethnic cleansing state has spent on marketing themselves as the only democracy in the Middle East has just gone down the drain. And their friends, the Germans and the British and the Americans, their besties, they're funding the G side with no shame on their faces. But in case you didn't notice, the tide is turning. It's turning pretty slowly, but it's turning. And one day, all of you people, whether you find justice here, you will find the justice afterwards. And not only that, you will be known in the history books as promoters of genocide and ethnic cleansing. That's how you will be remembered. Promoters of ethnic cleansing and genocide. That's all you will be known. That's your legacy. And that's my rant for today. Read, in the name of your Lord, who taught you by the pen. Assalamu alaikum.